Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled between rolling hills and lush green forests, there lived an old man named Mr. Arthur. He was a wise and kind soul, known by everyone for his white beard and warm smile. Mr. Arthur had spent his entire life in the village, witnessing generations come and go, and he had accumulated a treasure trove of stories and experiences. Every evening, the villagers would gather around the ancient oak tree at the center of the village, where Mr. Arthur would sit on a worn-out wooden stool and share his captivating tales. From his youth as a daring adventurer to his days as a skilled craftsman, he had seen it all and could transport the listeners to far-off lands with his words. One chilly winter evening, as the snow blanketed the village, a group of curious children approached Mr. Arthur near his cozy fireplace. They were eager to hear a new story, one they hadn't heard before. Mr. Arthur smiled warmly at them and began his tale. Once upon a time, he began, there was a magical forest on the outskirts of our village. It was said that within this forest, a magnificent and ancient treasure was hidden, but only the pure of heart could find it. The children's eyes widened with excitement as they leaned in, hanging on to every word. Mr. Arthur continued, many brave adventurers tried to find this treasure, but greed and arrogance clouded their hearts, and the forest would not reveal its secrets to them. But there was one young man, Lucas, who was different from the rest. He had grown up listening to stories of the forest and was determined to prove himself worthy of its gift. Lucas knew that the key to unlocking the treasure's location lay in understanding the language of the animals that lived in the woods. Intrigued, the children asked, "How did Lucas learn the animals' language, Mr. Arthur?" Mr. Arthur replied, "Lucas spent years observing the animals and learning their behaviors. He showed kindness to every creature he encountered, from the tiniest insect to the majestic deer." Slowly but surely, the animals began to trust him, and he could communicate with them through subtle gestures and sounds. The old man's voice carried the tale as the fire crackled, enveloping them in a cozy cocoon of warmth. One moonlit night, as Lucas wandered deeper into the heart of the forest, he heard a faint melody carried on the wind. It was a song of guidance sung by the creatures he had befriended, leading him to the treasure's secret location. The journey was treacherous, and many times Lucas felt like giving up, but he pressed on, fueled by the belief that he was on a quest not just for riches but for self-discovery. And so, after days of perseverance, he finally stood before a hidden clearing in the forest. The children leaned closer, their eyes wide with anticipation. And what did he find there, Mr. Arthur? In the center of the clearing stood a majestic tree, its branches adorned with shimmering crystals that reflected the moonlight like stars. This tree, known as the Tree of Wisdom, held the true treasure, Mr. Arthur said with a twinkle in his eye. The tree spoke to Lucas in a gentle, melodious voice, revealing that the real treasure was not material wealth but the knowledge and wisdom he had gained throughout his journey. Lucas had passed the test by remaining humble, kind, and pure of heart. As Mr. Arthur finished his tale, the children sat in awe, taking in the profound message. They realized that the old man's stories were not just entertainment, they carried timeless lessons and values. They thanked him and returned to their homes, inspired to be kinder and more compassionate in their own lives. And so, Mr. Arthur continued to share his stories with the villagers, leaving a legacy of wisdom and warmth that would be cherished for generations to come. Though he was just an old man, he had the power to touch hearts and sow seeds of goodness in the minds of the young. As long as his stories were told, his spirit would live on, forever etched in the memories of the villagers and their descendants, preserving the magic of the old man and his tales.